But right now, my first guest is Alan Colmes, and most of you know him as a political commentator for the Fox News Channel, and he's also, of course, an accomplished author and contributor for the AOL News Services as well. He's the host of the Alan Colmes Show on Fox News Radio, and he's been gracious enough to have me on his show twice, and so it's my honor to have him here today. For 13 years, you've known Alan Colmes as the co-host of Hannity and Colmes, of course, a nightly political debate show on Fox News with Sean Hannity, and Alan has a long career in radio dating back to his college years. You can also see Alan's commentary on the O'Reilly Factor. Sometimes he's on there with his conservative sister-in-law, Monica Crowley, and on occasion he's also a guest panelist on Fox News late-night program Red Eye with Greg Gutfeld, as well as Fox News Watch alongside Cal Thomas, Judith Miller, and other political pundits. But anyway, he is, in addition to broadcasting, Alan runs the Liberal Land blog, and he is the author of 2 books, Red, White, and Liberal, How Left is Right and Right is Wrong, and Thank the Liberals for Saving America. Alan, welcome to Freedom Friday.
Thank you for plugging everything I've ever done in my life.
That's it. That's it. Well, that's all I could find on you. So
I've done nothing. You've just mentioned it all. I've got nothing left.
Well, listen, there's something else that you've done, though, that I do know about you that I think is wonderful, and I was on YouTube and saw, man, you're a funny guy. You started your career in stand-up comedy.
Oh, you've been Googling me, huh? Okay.
Well, no.
Right.
See, I've known...
Now I know you do your homework. Okay, now I'm in big trouble.
But I've known this for months. In fact, a really good friend of mine who lives out west, when I was telling him about this, he said, oh, yeah. He said, listen, I was in New York. Wasn't it, Alan, in the 80s when you were doing stand-up?
Yeah, mostly at the comic strip, Catch a Rising Star.
That's what he said. Yeah. That's what he said. He said, I saw him live. He said, the guy was hilarious. So I saw a YouTube clip just the other day. I was watching it. Man, you're a funny guy.
Well, thank you. A lot of conservatives think I'm funny when I open my mouth. Because,
no, man, I appreciate it. But listen, I also noticed that you had a very long career in radio. So you started back in college, and
I started when I was a fetus. That's how long it's been.
That's been a long time, right?
Yes, I started in college. Actually, I started in high school working at the local college station, and then majored in broadcasting, and then been working in radio almost ever since I was a teenager. Right.
Well, that's amazing. And so, do you prefer radio or television? I mean, if you could just do one and get paid all the money you wanted.
I'd like to do both at the same time, and I'd like to have cameras. I mean, the way things are going, where you can Skype in guests and you can have video streams, you can actually do a radio show or a television show on radio, and vice versa. I like them both for different reasons. I love the intimacy of radio.
Yeah,
and the fact that you can do it without shaving,
and
in your bathrobe. No, but I mean, the intimacy you have by taking calls as you do on your show is something you really can't do on television. When you've got something in a director talking in your ear and multiple guests, and in my case, I had a co-host, so you're multitasking all the time. I think radio is something that's a little more focused and a little more intimate. So
I agree, and I've done both, not nearly as extensively as you have, but if I could take my pick and get paid all the money I needed, I would pick radio. But you're right, you can do both now.
Yeah, there's more money in TV.
Yeah.
Unless you're Sean Hannity or Rush Limbaugh.
But but I have a face for radio, so I need to stick with radio.
We have that in common.
Well, let me ask you this, and there are a lot of things I'd love to talk with you about, and perhaps we can have you back on sometime in the future as well.
Aren't you going to attack me for being a liberal?
Well, of course, but that's coming a little bit later. What I'm going to do is ambush you with that. Okay. No, I'm kidding. Sure. I'm kidding. But let me ask you this. I did notice in one of your bios, and this interested me, that you come from a Hebrew background, Jewish background. Are you and your family Orthodox? And I'm not going to get it.
No. I grew up as a Reformed Jew, which is probably one of the most liberal strains of Judaism. Mm-hmm. Not surprising to you, I'm sure. But I grew up in a Jewish family. I took Bible study. I did Sunday school for years. I did confirmation study, Bible study, bar mitzvah.
Right.
So I spent a lot of time studying faith and other faiths as well, which is probably a surprise to people who hear me and think I hate religion, but which is not true, by the way.
Yeah. No, I've heard you speak very intelligently about various religions, so I knew that you were a student of religion, but it did interest me when I saw that was your background. So what do you and your family think of Israel's right to exist and some of the current administration's policies towards Israel? I mean, do y'all have opinions on that?
A lot of conservatives seem to think that Barack Obama is anti-Israel and too pro-Palestinian, but if we're going to be a broker for peace, we have to have a good relationship with both sides, and I do think a two-state solution is necessary. I do not believe that Barack Obama is anti-Israel by one iota, although I think he might need a better partner for peace than Netanyahu, who is quite militant. He's now talking about what he'd like to do to Iran, and I'm not sure he's our best peace partner. Ironically, Ariel Sharon, who was quite militant for most of his life, went into a coma shortly after he really became much more moderate in his position and was no longer someone we could be talking to for peace. I'm not sure Netanyahu could make peace happen.
Right. No, I understand. I'm going to put in a cheap plug for my book. My latest book, The Rabbi That Found Messiah, I've got several chapters devoted to that very thing about Ariel Sharon and his history and where he stood on that and of course, his coma. Let me ask you, well, today, actually in my office, I was doing an interview, a radio telephone interview on the IRN USA network, and I had my television on watching in the background, and you were live on Fox today on a panel. What was that about? Were y'all talking about Obama's...
Obviously, this war on Christmas, which is going on,
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about Obama. We were talking about a bunch of things with Gretchen Carlson today, earlier this afternoon. Me and Mike Gallagher, who's a conservative talk show host.
Right.
They don't let me go on, without adult supervision on Fox News. So it's always a conservative with me.
I understand. Well, listen. So, what do you think about PolitiFact giving out the lie of the year?
Yeah, that's what we actually talked about on Gretchen's show today.
Well, see, I thought you might have. I didn't know that, but I thought that's what you were going to say when I asked you what you were talking about.
Yeah, the lie of the year. Obama saying, a lie to me has to be a willful misrepresentation of the truth. I don't think Obama willfully told an untruth. I think he either was not aware of what the insurance companies could do, or he was hoping it would work out differently. I don't think he really got up there and lied, because he would have had to have known, being a smart political operator, that would have come to bite him if he were to do that. I don't believe that was a willful lie. But what I said on Gretchen's show today was that I think PolitiFact is fair and balanced, because one year was death panels was the lie.
Right.
Another year the lie was that there'll be a government takeover of health care. This year they went after Obama. They went after Romney last year on something else. So I think they alternate years in terms of which side they're attacking. Right.
Well, listen. But you say that perhaps he wasn't aware. But don't you think he should have been aware?
Yeah.
I mean, because the thing is, Alan, because he punctuated it always by saying you can keep it. Period.
I agree with you. I think it was very bad communication, bad messaging. He should have been aware of the fact that insurance companies could have been bad actors in this and changed their plans. But insurance companies change their plans all the time anyway, almost from year to year. There are changes. I get a notice every year about how my plan's being changed. I think President Obama should have known that, but I don't think it was a willful lie. A willful lie is very different than getting your facts wrong or saying something out of school.
Well, listen, I understand your argument, but certainly you can understand those of us out here in the real world land outside the Beltway who are paying for insurance and who are having our insurance canceled by the millions.
I'm not the Beltway either. I'm in New York, but that's not the real world either. So.
No, it's not. I've been to both places. Neither one of them the real world. You kind of Alice in Wonderland. But truly, I mean, Alan, I know you can understand that. We're out here by the millions having insurance canceled, and they keep playing the tapes over and over. If you want your insurance, you can keep it. Period. If you want your doctor, you can keep it, period. And so, people say, man, he lied.
Well, that's why the president's ratings now are at a historic low.
Yeah, it is.
They're actually the same place where George W. Bush's were 5 years into his presidency at the end of the year. I think he's got to learn. Another thing we talked about on Gretchen's show today was whether Hillary Clinton will have to distance herself from Obama if she's going to seek the nomination in 3 years. And my answer to that is, a lot can happen over the next 3 years. President Obama's popularity now is not where it's going to wind up. He's got a lot of time to recoup. So I do. He is at a low point in his presidency now, but I don't think that's the final number.
Right. Well, Hillary's tried to distance herself from Obama from the beginning. She was the original birther, Al.
Well, they ran against each other. I mean, it was pretty nasty at times.
Oh, it was.
He was smart to bring her into the administration.
Yeah.
What
he
they
was.
truly feel about each other, I don't know, but he certainly gave her a good send-off. And pushed toward the nomination in 2016.
Yeah. Let me ask you, when I was on your show, we were bantering back and forth about this, and we ran out of time, and I just wanted to ask you, you truly believe that Obama has improved America?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The numbers speak for themselves.
Okay, give us some of the major accomplishments.
Well, we were losing 850,000 jobs a month under Bush at the end of his presidency. We've been gaining jobs every month. The unemployment, not good enough, but it's down to 7%. Bush's number was somewhere around 10. Don't forget, the first couple of months of the Obama administration was really still Bush's numbers because Obama didn't have a chance to get any of his policies in. Right. Bush did what he had to do, which he funded the banks, got them back up on their feet. A lot of conservatives objected to that, but he had no choice. And Obama then helped Main Street. He also regulated Wall Street. Also, Obama has killed more of these al-Qaeda guys than the previous administration. He got bin Laden. I think health care in the long term, this may not be the popular view right now, will be very successful. It's going to take a while, as it did with Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So I do think the lens of history will be much kinder to what am I talking about?
to George Obama. To George Obama.
George W. Bush, because Bush's ratings now are there's almost buyer's remorse. People miss Bush right now.
Right.
But over time, I think he will not be as well regarded because of what happened in Iraq, and I think Obama will be.
Let me tell you how bad it is with me. I miss Bill Clinton.
Look, I do too. Look, if we didn't have that 22nd Amendment where presidents are term limited, I think Clinton might still be president.
Yeah, let me tell you, I miss Jimmy Carter. Okay, Alan.
Do you really?
Okay, I mean, I am as conservative as one can be. Probably, I probably make Rush Limbaugh look like a liberal, but I miss Jimmy Carter. That's how bad I think it is.
Well, Jimmy Carter has certainly run his ex-presidency wonderfully, building homes for the poor.
Yeah,
I mean, he's truly lived, I think, a biblical life. He's a very religious man.
Yeah.
Who never wore it on his sleeve as president, and I think he's been exemplary as a former president.
Right. Well, you said a moment ago about gaining jobs, but Alan, you and I both know that the statistics show that so many of these jobs are entry-level jobs, low-level jobs, minimum wage jobs. So many of, and the 7% figure, that's a little nefarious as well, not on your part, but just on the reporting of the statistics, because we know that that number has been jostled around and played with.
Well, it's not fair to say it's 7%, but it wasn't jostled around when it was 10%. If you're going to say, well, we're not counting all those people who stopped looking for work, you've got to say the same thing about when the number was higher. So the trend is definitely downward.
Yes.
And so you've got to acknowledge that. The numbers are much better. Than the stock market's more than doubled, and that may affect people with 401ks. The numbers are there.
Yeah.
The president, I think, could have spent more and faster, which I'm sure conservatives don't agree with, and pumped more money into the economy, and I think we'd be in better shape.
Yeah. We're quickly running out of time. You know how this works in radio.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you've heard about it, haven't you? But I would, if you would be kind enough later to come back some other time.
I'd be honored. I thank you, Carl, very much.
Absolutely, we'll give you more time. Listen, we've got another moment or two. Let me ask you this, and this could be an hour-long discussion, and so I'm going to hush and just let you answer it because I know you have an opinion on it. Because you asked me the other day, and I wanted to answer, but we ran out of time. You asked me if I thought that Obama was being unduly attacked because he's black, and I'm serious. I'm not sabotaging you. I'm just asking, do you think that perhaps he is?
That's not a sabotage question. I'm happy to answer it.
Okay, good.
My answer is yes.
Okay.
I think a large portion, as Jimmy Carter said, a large portion of people who don't like him. I'm not saying a majority.
Okay.
But I think, look, the birther stuff, that he's not from here, he's not really American, doesn't have American values. To me, that's all steeped in racism.
Okay. Well, boy, I wish we had more time. See, what I did was I sabotaged myself. But Alan, God bless you. Thank you. You've been so gracious, and I would love to have you back. In fact, next time we'll spend a little more time together, okay?
Much.
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
Well, that was Alan Colmes, folks. And again, I hung up with Alan Colmes from Hannity and Colmes and Fox News Radio, and a gracious guy. He is. Now, look, Alan is as far left as I am far right. So our opinions are going to be at opposite ends of the spectrum. But he's been gracious enough to have me on his nationally and internationally syndicated talk radio program, The Alan Colmes Show on Fox News Radio. And I wanted to have him on here for you to hear him right here on Freedom Friday. And we will have him back, and I will have him on for a longer period of time, and more than likely he would be glad to take phone calls, so I'll be glad to try to set that up with him sometime in the near future. But I do want to take your phone calls, and before I do, I want to address this. So you heard it right out of Alan's mouth. If you're a birther, you're a racist. Now, he didn't direct that to me. I don't even know if he knows exactly how deeply I'm involved in the Arpaio Zulo investigation, etc. But that's the mantra of the liberals. If you're a birther, you're a racist. If you don't like Obama, you're a racist. If you disagree with Obamacare, you're a racist. If you don't, that's the answer. And the thing about it is, I am a birther, because the word birther, I believe, by its definition, means I care where the commander-in-chief is born. And the fact is, I wished I could have said this to Alan. I wished we had enough time, but I sabotaged myself by asking him that question last. Mike Bates just walked in and said, "Man, you asked him the best question last." I guess I did. But the bottom line is, even Alan couldn't answer this next question, and that is, Alan, how do you know he was born in the United States? Of course, he would have said, well, he's put his birth certificate. Wait. That's the only document that's ever been released to the public, and now it has been forensically proven to be a 100% forgery. Now, I know Alan would say, well, wait a minute, no court has looked at it. I know that, but that's coming very, very soon. But if he only knew what I knew, then he would know that it has been 1,000% proven to be a fabrication and a forgery. Now, if that's the only document ever shown on this man's identification, and it's a forgery, and by the way, folks, if it turns out that it's not, I'll apologize and announce it to the world, but I'll never have to make that apology, I promise you. So the bottom line is, what does that have to do with racism? Yes, I'm a birther. I care whether Commander-in-Chief is born. I care if he's an American or not. I care if he's legal or not. I care if he's supposed to be in that office or not. Black, white, pink, or purple, male or female, young, old, short, tall, fat, skinny. I care. I love America, and I love our constitutional republic. But that's the liberal mantra. If you disagree with Obama, basically, you are a racist. Well, let's go to the phone lines. Chris, welcome to Freedom Friday. So glad you waited. What's on your mind?
Hi, Pastor Gallups. Greta Van Susteren would have answered your question, how do you know he's a birther? She did answer that question on her show one night. She said, well, because of the newspaper birth notices in Hawaii, he was clearly born there. But we now know that those newspaper birth notices were drawn from the Honolulu Department of Health, where in 1961, anyone could just walk in and declare an unattended birth. We now know that a number of Japanese people who were born in Japan, relatives of theirs, walked in there and declared that they were born in Hawaii and did get them birth certificates and American citizenship at that time in 1961. But according to Alan Colmes' position, Pastor Gallups, the founding fathers of this nation were all racist.
Yes.
Because they did care where a man or woman was born.
Yes. Yeah.
And
listen, Chris, you're right. I'm going to let you speak some more, but you're absolutely right, because the reason they cared was because they understood that if you took somebody and put him as commander-in-chief and the chief executive officer of this great nation, who had double or triple loyalties and who had maybe even was placed there for nefarious reasons, that it would be the absolute destruction of our nation. And that's why the only constitutional office in America is declared as natural-born citizen. And by the way, vice president would apply too, because the requirements for vice president are you have to be able to be president. So president and vice president, you have to be a natural-born citizen. Our founding fathers, according to Alan Colmes, and the liberals would say, well, they're racist.
The one thing that Mr. Colmes, along with the rest of the liberal media, will not do is they will not look at the evidence that I witnessed. I was present at the preliminary release of the findings of Sheriff Joe Arpaio's volunteer cold case posse. And the evidence is irrefutable that the electronic file posted as a purported true representation of an actual birth certificate document is nothing more than an amateurishly manufactured attempt at a forgery.
Well, not only that, Chris, you're absolutely right. Not only that, but we also now know so much more than that, and we now have forensics experts that are nationally recognized by the Supreme Court, who have weighed in on it and have given affidavits. But as you probably know, if you keep up with P.P. Simmons News and Ministry and Freedom Friday, you know that this investigation has taken a deeper, darker turn now, and now we're way beyond the birth certificate and into stuff that, as Mike Zullo has said, by the way, it's headline news today, the P.P. Simmons News article at WND.com, headline news, that Mike Zullo has said that it has taken a universe-shattering turn. And then now, of course, the director of the Department of Health, Fuddy, has died just in the last day or so.
Could I ask a question to Mr. Colmes in case he's listening?
Yeah, you've got 15 seconds and we're out of here.
Okay. Are you aware, Mr. Colmes, that Mr. Obama, or Sartoro, publicized himself through his own personal literary agent as having been born in what we now call Kenya? They used the biographical data provided by their client, as all publicists do.
Yeah.
Obama gave them the information that he was born in what we now call Kenya.
Yeah, and not only that, and thank you, Chris, you're absolutely right. Not only that, but they publicized that for 16 years. 16 years Obama said he was from Kenya, and so did his publishers. They only changed it when he was beginning to run for president. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Gulf Coast and United States of America, and to our listeners around the world by podcast. We're going to be back in a moment. Mike Shoesmith will be up with us right after this time out. God bless you. You're listening. Carl Gallups on. All right. Brandon, are you still with us?
Man, I'm here. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Well, listen. You teased us terribly, so you want to run down the disinformation that Alan Colmes presented. Now, be nice, because I like Alan, but go ahead and tell us.
I'm going to be nice, but I'm going to be factual.
That's what I want you to be.
Here's what we see so many times with people with an ultra-liberal stance is that they present talking points, especially government propaganda-style talking points. Mm-hmm. Very seldom do we see facts. So let's just run down them real quick. He first talked about that, we were losing jobs under Bush. Unemployment has fallen under Obama. So let's look at the numbers. The overall number of people over the age of 16 that are not in the workforce currently sits, and this is as of late October, at around 90,609,000.
Wow.
That number has increased by 9.5 million under President Obama.
Wow.
Now, what that means, that's how unemployment numbers get skewed, because those people are not considered when the current unemployment numbers come out.
That's right.
Okay? That's number one. Number two, from July to August of this year, 516,000 people dropped out of the workforce.
Right. Wow.
That's 500,000 in 1 month.
Just dropped out. Not even
dropped
looking
out.
anymore. Okay.
They're not in that 7% number, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the second part of that number that is distorted is that, yes, unemployment has fallen. I will not argue that. But the number of jobs that are being lost, there are more full-time jobs being lost right now, okay, than there are being gained. And the rise in lowering of unemployment numbers is due to, and you brought this point up, to entry-level and part-time jobs.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's right.
One reason for that is because the Obamacare health mandate states that anything over 30 hours is a full-time work week now, and you have to provide outrageous insurance.
Right.
It was designed to push people to a part-time job.
Right.
Okay? All right.
Good point.
Now, this I thought was kind of interesting. He mentioned the 22nd Amendment, and he didn't champion it for Obama to take away term limits, but he brought it up. And we've seen that in the news just in the last couple of weeks, that there is, in fact, a push to do away with term limits for the president.
For the president. That's right. There sure is.
So, now, I'm not claiming that Mr. Colmes was making that point, but I just thought it was interesting that he went there.
Yeah.
Because that's been speculated on quite a bit, that Obama will do something to try and stay in office.
Yeah. And
okay.
And P.P. Simmons News and Ministry, I noticed just a few days ago, they had a big report on there of some journalist on the liberal side who writes for a mainstream media. He did a huge op-ed basically calling for the elimination of the 22nd Amendment.
And I don't remember his name, but that was in fact on P.P. Simmons.
Right.
Okay. Also, Mr. Colmes said that he didn't think Obama intentionally lied about the health care. They just didn't know.
Right.
All right, I'll give you that. Maybe he didn't. But why do I question that?
Right.
Because what should you do when someone lies to you over and over and over again?
Yeah.
You should question them. They are a known liar.
Right.
You question them. So let's look at the things that we know that Barack Obama has lied about.
Right.
We know that he lied about Benghazi, for sure.
Right.
We know that he lied about the IRS scandals.
Right.
Okay? Now, I could just keep on going on and on and on down that list, but the fact is, the man is a known liar. He has lied about his birth certificate.
Right.
Okay? The man is a known, so we have to question known liars.
He's lied about IRS. He's lied about the Fast and Furious. He's lied about ammo buying. He's lied about DHS. He's lied about TSA. And, of course, he hasn't lied about the birth certificate. Now, he's told the truth about that.
Now, the next one I don't want to go too far off into because it's speculation, but he brought up Bin Laden. So I got to say it. The man that is known as the greatest living journalist today, Cy Hirsch, two-time Pulitzer Prize winner, he said Bin Laden raid was a fake. It was all a setup. Bin Laden had been dead, and other credible sources have reported that. Okay?
I know.
So now that can be debated, but let me ask you this. Why would the man known as the most credible living journalist risk his entire reputation by saying something so outrageous if he didn't have the facts to back it up?
Right,
It reminds me of a book I just read about a famous rabbi that said Jesus was the Messiah. Something about that. Sound familiar?
Thank you for that plug, son. Thank you for that. Yeah, but no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I get it. And you know, the guy's a 2-time Pulitzer Prize winner. He's the top of his field. Why would he destroy his entire reputation unless he knew something? Just like that rabbi. Yeah.
Now this is the last one I'm going to make, and this one's kind of near and dear to me. I teased last week and said we were going to do a study soon on Freedom Friday of the federal.